Okay. Let me move this. Get it on over here. Still got some stuff here from our last, which I need to move to the side. Make sure that I get stuff taken care of. Let me make sure this is right. Okay, that seems good right there. Okay, as far as I can tell, everything is right. Let's fix this. There. Should be able to put that right there. We should have no trouble. Well, first off, let me go in here and let me post that. So we'll get right off the bat, that's already up. I would have been earlier. Channel updates. And I guess a small life update. My car broke down again. Again. On the way home today. I just can't. I can't win. I can't. But I'm here. Whatever. Channel update. I am doing, I'm fixing the entire... Oh, shit. Look at that. Right off the bat. Oh, and you just alerted me to something. Is that? Yep. Great. I was wondering if I had actually put that in correctly, but I do. I have it in there. I didn't expect to see it today. Usually when I do these, you guys are busy. Well, I am redoing all of the playlists. All of them. The way the show works now, because it is a vote show and we're talking about toys the way that we've been talking about toys and doing the votes, I figured it made more sense because for a long time the playlists have been like anime, comic books, things of that nature. Well, now they're moving towards more like brands, unless it's not big enough for it to make sense as a brand. So like I have G.I. Joe. But that doesn't matter. That playlist is just G.I. Joe, and I'm not going to break it down into classified retro and things like that because I don't collect enough of it for it to matter, and people are not going to come to me in a way that will make it matter. You get what I'm saying there? But there's a TMNT list, but there's also a Super 7 list because I noticed that I'm starting to pile up some of that. There's a Marvel Legends list and so on and so forth. And it's still being made. These playlists are going to take me about maybe a week or two to really formulate and get running solid. But the playlists are on the channel, and I'm kind of working through it as I go. That is absolutely what it will end up going to. Because that car is eating me alive. Like, this could be Engine 3. It really could. I mean, when I bought the car, it had a problem, and then the warranty replaced an engine, which put me on Engine 2. And this feels like the exact same problem. And there happens to be a recall on the engine for this specific problem, but they won't fix it unless it has that problem. Because I went in and tried to preemptively stop it. I said, hey, I've already had this engine replaced. It was because of this. Now I see there's a recall for this. And they said, yeah, but it's a very expensive fix. It's about a $9,000 replacement. So we only do this if it is necessary. Well, it looks like it's probably necessary. And this will be the third engine this car has had. So fun. What's going on? We got Jake already in here. I'll let you know what's going on. I definitely will. We got 3 minutes. So far we only have 2 votes, but both of them are leaning towards DC. Kind of regular. The chat for some reason does seem to really like DC, and we got some new DC stuff in. One thing in particular is a fantastic item to have added because it will remove an item that we got by accident. And I will definitely talk about it if it wins, because Wow. I still cannot believe I bought it. That's what I'm going to say. I still cannot believe I bought it, but it did, and we may be replacing it with what it was supposed to be. You want to see Kingdom Come Superman. He finally arrived. Late as crap compared to what other people got him, but he is here finally. And I am definitely looking forward to that Superman because, well, to me, I'm sure we'll get into it. I would be surprised if he doesn't make it. And yes, you caught it. That's exactly, yes, I found her. Incredible Hulk episode. I really do try not to let my life, bother me. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but we'll say that Seth gets worked up more easily than I do. It's not that I don't, but Seth gets worked up in terms of his life stuff way easier than I do. We are at 5 minutes, so we've only got 5 minutes left in the vote. Currently, we are looking at, not big, this just went live. We've only got about 3 viewers right now. And so far, we're at 5 minutes. We're at 2 votes. And McFarlane DC is currently winning. Also, that's one of the lists that I decided to do for the playlists, was make a McFarlane list. So if anybody wants to know if I have covered anything or whatnot, that is now on the channel. Currently being updated. It's not done yet, as I said. But yes, we do not have a chair. We've opened all the chairs, as far as I am aware. I would be very surprised to see another chair hit the show. We did Zed's throne. We did the Conan throne. We did the Bone throne from Motu, and we did the Ankh chair. I don't even know what I should call that. The Omega chair, is that supposed to be Darkseid's chair in some form of continuity? Maybe, possibly. Maybe that's his throne. It's not what I'm going to use it for. You already know that. But yeah. Who knows? So, we are at 6. Otherwise, I don't think there are any updates. Aside from King vs. King is still a thing. It's still going to happen. I just have not had the free time. I'm getting home later than I ever anticipated, and it's really kind of putting a damper on what I can get done and how fast I can get done. There is a barbarian figure thing that's coming up. It's a video that's going to talk about what I would do if I was to make a successful barbarian line, how I would handle it, and there's a couple things that I'm going to talk about, what I think needs to happen in terms of a successful barbarian line. And then there's a DC overhaul that's going to go over the shelf because there's items that got to go. And we've also got to talk about a couple things that are on the shelf that no longer make any sense. Like stuff that I found replacements for them at this point. Yep. Later on, man. Thanks for stopping in. Let's see. Have I seen the Red Sonja trailer? Yes, I have. I indeed have seen the Red Sonja trailer, and it looks solid. My biggest hope for that movie, keep her mostly human. I know that sounds weird, but as a fan of Conan, Red Sonja was more human in the Conan the Barbarian books than she is in her own books. Since Sonja has been bought and used by Dynamite, she has become nearly superhuman. She's a reincarnated warrior. Sometimes she possesses almost super strength. I've seen her break through walls and things like that and just do things that do not make sense to what she is and what she should be able to do. Yeah, I don't want to see her do things like go to New York, but even that, even when she went to New York, she was like doing wild things like dodging bullets and stuff like that. You don't see that in any of the original Conan books, and you don't really even see it in a lot of the original Conan comic books, or even the newer ones. Like, people with arrows are a problem for him. He usually can't just rush a line and dodge 40, 50, 60 arrows, but Red Sonja in the Dynamite books stops world-ending calamities on the regular and has, like, fought gods and things of that nature. And it honestly kind of bothers me, because the Red Sonja that I like came from Marvel. Roy Thomas, Red Sonja from Marvel, that's my Sonja. I like some of the other things that I've read, but it's very easy for Dynamite to rub me the wrong way with Red Sonja. And because of that, I really need this movie to stick more towards the human angle. I need that. The new Motu movie is going to be real world again. I saw that. I worry a little bit. But even with my worries, the pictures I am seeing are way more promising than what we had before. I'm going to have to wait and see. It's very hard to judge. It looks like we could be looking at a very solid property. I don't like necessarily that it's taking place on Earth. Like, just take your cue from Lord of the Rings and make it mystical. Like, but I gotta let them do what they're gonna do. I gotta see it. I can't judge it right off. The pictures look good. He looks good. Most of the casting is on point for what I'm wanting it to be. I gotta let it play out. Okay, McFarlane has won. So, let's see here. He's one of the things I'm worried about. Okay, so there is I know that's a thing. That might be wrong, but people will know what I was talking about if I got it wrong. There is also, I know that's over there, and there is, of course, and I'm not going to look up exactly what one it is right now. We're just going to put it out there. Would have put it out there because realistically, I've already heard what some people want, and with us currently only being at 3 viewers right now, the vote is probably very skewed towards that right there. But we'll see. We'll see if people show up and things of that nature. You never know. We'll see how it works out. That's something I'm worried about. But I'm going to say this. I have taught myself to try my absolute best at not judging a casting before I see it. Because the thing is, I have seen multiple times that someone has been casted in a property, and I have went, nope, no way, absolutely not. Only to turn around and find that that casting was brilliant. Oftentimes, these casting directors see things we don't see and are privy to information we don't see. So, I gotta wait and I gotta see. Because I said the same thing. But I have seen Jared Leto in things that I have liked. So I gotta wait this out. I've got to. I've got to wait it out. I've got to see it for myself. Because yes, originally a lot of people, just like a lot of people did not want Michael Keaton Batman, when it was announced that 10 Things I Hate About You guy was going to be the Joker, people didn't like it. When A Knight's Tale dude was going to be the Joker, people didn't like it. And look what they pulled off. So I've taught myself to take steps back, and I'm really trying with this one. Seen Jared Leto perform great stuff I really like. Don't care. The guy needs to go away. I can't understand. So, I don't have it up here, but in the last stream, I talked about the very first Xbox games I had ever got. It was KOTOR and Crimson Sea. And I'd said that I'd looked for Crimson Sea, and that it had a price tag of over $170, sometimes over $200, and I was simply never going to buy it. Now, admittedly, it has been a long time since I have looked for that game. A long time. Probably long enough that Xbox was in its retro wave. What I mean by that is every system goes through this. The system comes out, everybody loves it, everybody plays it. Then it dies. We move on to something else. And about 2 or 3 systems up the line, all those retro games explode. Like they go crazy in money. We saw it with GameCube not way too long ago. And Xbox did this. And that was around the time that I think I was looking for Crimson Sea. I saw the price tags, I gave up on it. And I never once encountered it anywhere, at any shop. I've never seen it when I go to when I go to conventions, I've never come across it. When I've gone to things like Mega Replays, I've never seen it. When I've gone to thrift stores, I've never seen it. When I've gone to comic shops, I've never seen it. I've never come across it. I figured either one of two things was going on. A lot of people that still have it never let it go for some reason. Its price was too high and is usually snagged as a collector's item and is not carried very highly. Or it wasn't a very successful game, did not sell many copies, and a lot of them were destroyed inventory. That's something that doesn't get talked about, but it does happen. Sometimes stores, when you see like they'll produce a line, they'll produce 10, 15,000, 100,000 copies, and they'll send it out to the stores. Sometimes stores like Walmart and whatnot, if something doesn't sell and then it goes to clearance and then they still can't get rid of it, they will destroy said item and dumpster it. I know that sometimes you see those shows where people like dumpster dive because the employees are basically lazy and they just throw the stuff away and you can go get some cool stuff. We've seen those. But what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to break the items or destroy the items and toss them. I did this when I did inventory. When I was at Walmart and I was working on the conversion of Walmarts to Super Walmarts, that was one of the things we did, is we'd tear down certain aisles, pull product off the shelf, then we'd match its dates, and if the dates exceeded a certain point or it was not of profit, we would be ordered to break the item and throw it in the dumpster. And I actually broke a lot of PlayStation 2 games and PlayStation 1 games during that time, because you had to. And if you were caught taking them home or whatnot, you could be fired like that. So I remember taking a lot of like copies of like Bushido Blade and whatnot, and you'd have to take it, snap it. You'd have to wear gloves because they didn't want to get in trouble, but you'd snap it and you'd throw it away. That made me think like maybe a lot of these copies never sold, and so it just never went anywhere. Well, somebody was watching the stream, and somebody heard me talking about it. And specifically says they caught my stream. They sent me a message. Caught your stream. Heard you was bitching about something. Okay. Next thing I know, They show up to my house, and they give me an article, an ad. He said, I found it. And he hands me this cardboard sleeve, and I open the sleeve, and Crimson Sea, an ad, Crimson Sea. Like, literally taken right out of an old magazine. And I was like, what? And he said, oh yeah, I found it. And I was like, you bought this? And he says, oh yeah, they sell them. First off, I didn't even know that was a thing. That you could go on eBay and like people will save ads and whatnot, or like articles from old magazines, and it'll just be that one page and you can buy it. I didn't know that was a thing, first off. And then he was like joking with me and messing with me and being like, well, you got it. He said, you can't play the game, but you got it. Then right before he gets ready to leave, his wife hands me the game. They found it. I now have Crimson Sea again. So I actually have the first 2 games I ever owned on the Xbox again. I own them. They are back on my shelf. That is crazy to me. And it kind of makes me wonder, what were the first games I had for each system if I could track down my memories? And some would be tough. Like, Nintendo would be really, really hard, if not impossible, in all honesty, because I probably don't know. But I think I remember PlayStation, what the first game we had was. And a couple of other systems, too, I think I can remember. It'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. Willem Dafoe is right there for Skeletor, and we're over here playing 30 Seconds to Mars Land. I personally think that Willem Dafoe is the greatest Joker we never casted. That's what I've always wanted to see him do. Oh yeah, the Biker Mice, I've seen them. I was never a big Biker Mice fan, but like, the fact that they even exist of that quality is crazy. Usually on here earlier than expected, but was cooking. No, hey, you got to live your life, man. I always break these down into chapters and whatnot. You know that. I am surprised, and not that this probably won't come right back up, but Batman won. I actually did expect the Superman to win, but Batman won, and it was actually just barely, by the way, so we'll probably come back around. I know how the group tends to vote for the DC stuff, so let's go ahead, jump right in, because here we go. It's Batman time. You ready? This one I'm actually kind of looking forward to, okay? Let's try that again. Let's not mess that up. How about that? Okay, Batman. Specifically, this is the Cowardly Lot Batman. Here it is. I was walking through a Target recently, and I was not looking for any Batman. I had considered the year 1 Batman because I do like that look, but I was not looking for anything in particular. As I walked through the aisle, I found 2 figures. One was the I'm trying to remember, because I've passed him up like 5 or 6 different times now. So I honestly can't even remember which one it was, but it was a figure I didn't care about. Just clouding up the shelves. And then I seen a Batman. One of these red label Batmans. And I was like, interesting. It's a platinum edition. That's kind of neat. It's maybe a variant of the one that's already out. And then I got to looking at him. And I was like, you've already got a bunch of Batmans, Bill. Put it back. Made myself put it back. Then I made myself take it right back off the shelf again. And really got to looking at him. And I said, oh no. He's like good. Like, he's a good Batman. I've already got so many Batmans. Then I decided to walk around with him for a little while. Then I went and scanned him. And I was like, crap, I'm taking it home. And so, here he is. I did not expect to buy this Batman. But after looking him over, I can tell you, this might be the best Batman I have now. I will know that for sure once I see him in my hands. But I have a feeling he may check almost all of my boxes. And he may actually beat out, because of certain things, he may actually beat out the Nightfall Batman. Which shocks me, because I really liked the Nightfall Batman. In terms of, for this collection, for McFarlane, he is my favorite Batman they have made. And I thought he couldn't be topped. But they made a couple decisions. They changed the line, started adding the capes, started adding the wireframe capes. And that hurt him real bad. Because while he is my favorite design, favorite color scheme, that cape meant a lot. And then they released one which is basically the Nightfall Batman. It really is. It's basically they just took that body and put the cape on it and changed the color scheme. So the No Man's Land Batman is that perfect Batman with the perfect cape I want, but they altered the color scheme to be the dark gray and darker blue. Normally, I might praise this, but comic book wise, when I grew up, the Batman I loved the most was the lighter gray, lighter blue that would fade into the shadows. So that's what I want. And I wanted that cape. And then they didn't give it to me when they basically released everything I wanted but changed the color scheme. So I skipped that one, only to walk by this one. And now we're going to figure out if he is currently the best Batman on the shelf. Let's open it. Okay, so let's see. Is this the best Batman I have now? I really think there's a huge chance for him. So, here's the thing. My two favorite color schemes are the light gray and blue with the oval. My second favorite color scheme is the dark gray and black. Dark gray and black. I prefer the cape with the bendy wire. There we go. My favorite two bat emblems are the oval with the bat, or the bat that stretches across the chest. Bat that stretches across the chest. My favorite belt are the actual belts with the pouches. This is my favorite belt. When he has gloves, I prefer they actually have the armor plates. That is an armored gauntlet. I like Batman to kind of mean mug. Angry face. I like the Batman boots that have the spike. The best way I could put it, it's not really a spike, but when the boots go up to that tip, I like that. I don't necessarily care if the boot is armored or not. Sometimes it matters to me, sometimes it does not. This cape is huge. Maybe you could argue it should have been a different kind of material. It's that nylon-esque material, and it's noticeable. There we go. Gotta pop these legs out. And this Batman right off very easily posable. It's not the greatest pose. I'm not actually really necessarily trying. I was just wanting to see if I could get anything out of it being simple. But I will say there's one extra thing that pushes this Batman over the edge. He did get hands. He has a hand that's kind of open, but it is not a trigger finger hand. You might be able to argue that it is, but I honestly do not think that it is. I think it's just kind of open. Yes, his finger is kind of up, but it does not look like a trigger finger hand when I'm looking at it dead on, which is good, because I don't think Batman should come with trigger finger hands. He has a punching hand, kind of an open hand to hold something, and then he has his extra hands, which is exactly what puts him over. I like these quite a bit, actually. He has holding batarang hands. And it doesn't sound like much, but it's cool that you could actually put him into a pose, get him down, set him up, flare the cape out, and he could be ready to fight like this, like a straight up Wolverine or something. These are cool. These are cool hands. That's a good belt. That's one of my favorite symbols. That's a great color scheme. It's very possible that this is my best Batman now on the shelf. I still love the Nightfall Batman. If the Nightfall Batman had got a cape like this, it would have been perfect. He didn't, which helps this guy to etch up right next to him, and he could have the edge. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a short later on where I look at the two and determine which one I think is my best Batman. But he could very well be it, man. He is very solid. He's very, very cool. And I love the fact that he's holding the batarangs. I prefer these hands. I don't want them to give me the batarangs. First off, they're very easy to lose. You just kind of have to store them. They don't necessarily work well for like photography because what am I going to get? Like, I got to put it in his hand, and it's a pain to hold it in his hand. But I could easily put batarangs in his hand and have him like drawing back to throw them or something. Or like very much like putting them up or something right before he does throw them, like putting a pair up and then getting another pair that's already about to like, he's already basically fully flung out and he's just about to loose them. Or you could very well use these like Wolverine claws. I mean, these are cool. They're versatile and they look really good for the photography purposes. You can easily put the punch hand here and then easily take the other ones here and then put like a couple guys with guns behind him. So he has these ready, like he's about to throw them back, but he's also handling something in front of him. That's solid. This may be the best Batman on the shelf now. It's a very real possibility. I didn't bother to look this up and see if it's a variant. I mean, it's a platinum edition. Normally that means something when it comes to McFarlane, because this is the Cowardly Lot, but it's the platinum. Is the Cowardly Lot just a platinum thing? I don't know. I didn't actually look it up. I didn't double check it. I also prefer smaller bat ears. He's got the small bat ears. He's a really solid Batman. I mean, he just is. He absolutely is. He does come with a regular stand, but I don't need a flight stand for Batman. Not really. Batman. Okay, let me get the next poll started. And then I will go to the chat. Okay. Oops. Sure. And then lastly, we will throw in... Oh. There. There's all of those. Now let me check what's going on here in the chat. Go, Jade. Batman is the best. You would say that. Let's see. Willem Dafoe is single-handedly the most missed opportunity in terms of casting for the Joker. There are a few clips on YouTube of him acting in a play where he's painted up like a clown. I think I've seen those images, actually. Recently, I sold my only Batman, Mafex Dark Knight. Only Batman I'm going to settle with is Mafex Night Crusader. I've seen that. I've seen the Night Crusader you're talking about. Hey, man, what's going on? Yes, we were. Weird White Vader choking hand? No, not necessarily. Who knows what this is actually for, but he does have a gripping hand instead of two punching hands. Holding batarangs like that? Nah, mate, Wolverine batsuit. Wait, what about when Batsy is coming down from buildings, cape unfurled like wings? So, this is one of the few capes that you can kind of get that with. It will span about this level of distance, and from the correct angles, you can get a full spread cape. Some of these capes don't do this. They don't reach out as far. But he actually has one of those solid capes that would allow you to get a type of in-air motion bat thing. I think the biggest cape I can think of is for the first appearance Batman. Savage Crucible Rabbit Hole. Not surprised. There's very, very, it's very easy to become lost in that. Grappling hook, I have a couple of grappling hooks from other Batmans, so like, it doesn't necessarily matter to me if he comes with one or not, but that can take us back to the original argument that I've had, where every figure is somebody's first figure, and there is something to be said about, like, not including all the stuff known for a certain character with a certain character every time. Like, Captain America should always have a perfect round shield. Always. Even if you're going to sell one that's a broken one or whatever, like an effect, he should still get that shield because somebody, that's their first Captain America. Not everybody has 7 gambits, so you always have the card hand. That card hand should be a regular thing now in every release because somebody's going to get a gambit and not have cards. And then what, right? What's going on, man? Let's see. Interesting. G.I. Joe is currently winning. We are at 3 minutes. We have 5 votes. We are currently sitting at 6 watchers. So I'm actually surprised about that. Every single thing got a vote so far. G.I. Joe. That we'll see. Still got time, but we'll see how it pans out. G.I. Joe, I've noticed, is somewhat hit and miss on this show. DC almost always gets it. You don't know what Play Arts Kai is? It's Play Arts Kai. You knew what I meant. I'm a one-man show here, buddy. Sounds like somebody's bootleg. No, actually, that's Pie Arts Kai. What they do when they bootleg it, if you buy it off something like Wish or whatever, back when that was a thing, what you would get is you wouldn't actually get a Play Arts Kai. Almost everything about them looked the same. The paint jobs were a little lesser. You could argue sometimes the paint jobs were better because maybe you wanted a darker tone or whatever, but the paint jobs were normally not as good, and on the box, almost everything was exactly the same, but it was P-I-A-Y, not P-L-A-Y. It was so minor that I actually had one, and I used to hand it to people and say, tell me if that's fake. And they would look it over. It looks real to me. And I'd be like, no, it's not. And then I would show it to them. And after you see it, you can see it. But it's so minor, it would trick everybody's eye. It's kind of clever, actually. But that was the tell, because the logo was actually messed up. I used to see that all the time. And it used to be crazy. Like, so sometimes now, when I buy a figure, one of the first things I do is I kind of look at the logo real good, because sometimes the logo is a tail, because they know that they need to get it so close that people think they're buying an actual thing, but they gotta leave just enough wiggle room for it to be different. And sometimes you'll find it in the logos. You sincerely don't know what a Play Arts Kai is. Well, Play Arts Kai is technically it's the official toy for Square Enix figures. I know I'm playing that loosely, but that's kind of what it is. It does a lot of Final Fantasy figures and things of that nature. That's pretty much what it is. So like, you'll see like Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, Tomb Raider, things of that nature. But every now and then it does step out of there, so I'm not trying to say that it's like an official Square Enix thing. It's just most merchandise that most people will buy that come from that are like Final Fantasy toys and things like that. That's where it comes from. Is Play Arts Kai. That seems to be very normal. But Play Arts Kai does step out of that field because they've also done Batman figures, they've done Wolverine figures, they've done Metal Gear Solid figures and things like that. So it's a bigger company, but if I had to tag them down to something that they are most commonly known for, it's Square Enix property. That seems to be, when you're going to buy a Square Enix toy, it seems to be Play Arts Kai that people are mostly buying more than anything else. Yes, Tomb Raider was taken by Square Enix for the last 3 games. They did the Tomb Raider, was it Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and was it Tomb Raider Rises or whatever? Those 3 games were Square Enix. Something that makes me dread buying merch online is the avalanche of bootlegs. Yes, but if you're like me and you've went to a lot of these conventions and things like that, and a lot of these stores that take a lot of trade-ins and stuff, you find, I actually did it not way too long ago. I was at a Mega, like this big third-party type of store where they take in a bunch of trades and stuff like that. And I was there and I was looking around and I saw something and I pointed it right out to my kid. I said, "That's fake." And she goes, "How do you know?" And I said, that, and that. And I pointed out 3 things on the figure that I knew were different on the actual figure. And she was like, "How do you know that?" And I was like, "'Cause I have one. And these are different, and they're different because this is not the actual figure. It is fake. This is a bootleg." And I'll bet you they don't know. So somebody's going to pay that money for this figure, and it's not deserved. G.I. Joe Classified Scorpion? Like Mortal Kombat? Like Mortal Kombat? I know I just said that twice, but like, are you talking about the jet? If you're talking about the jet, then I did see it. Like a giant scorpion. What? 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 No, I did not see that. With a Mortal Kombat Scorpion-esque character? What? No, but you have me very curious now as to what it is. Holy crap. Then again, you don't really expect Metal Gear Solid guys of Konami also owning Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually, now that you bring that up, you're right. That's something that I never really pieced together in my mind, but you're right. G.I. Joe just won a set. Holy crap. Awesome. Okay, well, hold on. Okay, this has been a while since Joe has been in the rotation, so I know I have that's one that I think is ready. I also have oh, that's right. That is something, and yes, they have to be opened together. And even though I know nothing about him, Bam. There we go. If my other Snake Eyes had already arrived, I would have put all 3 Snake Eyes in there. And I don't care. I don't care how that makes me look. Okay? If there's one thing I never necessarily got over, it's that Snake Eyes was cool. I'm sorry. Like, I was never really much into G.I. Joe. We've talked about this many times. I've only ever seen one episode of G.I. Joe ever. Ever. I don't remember what show was on when G.I. Joe was on. But where I was, when I watched TV, there was G.I. Joe that played, and there was another show that played at the same time. I honestly wish I remembered what it was. But I can't remember. The only reason I know this without a doubt is because on the regular, I would watch the other show. Then I would go outside to play, and I would meet up with my neighbor. And my neighbor watched G.I. Joe all the time. He never missed an episode. And he would always say things about like, oh, dude, today I was watching G.I. Joe. And like I'd be like, and he'd think that I would see it. And he'd say, did you see that part? And I'd be like, no, I didn't, because I don't watch G.I. Joe. And he'd be like, what? We don't watch G.I. Joe. What else is even on? I remember that would always. But I honestly did not watch G.I. Joe. And I'm struggling to think of what was on when G.I. Joe was on another channel that I was watching that instead. But I never watched Joe's. So what I know of G.I. Joe's is I know there's a comic book. I've probably read 10 issues my whole life. I know that there is a series. I've watched one episode ever. I know that there are all these characters, and I know a lot of them. But I know a lot of them only because of toys, because I was prime going to the toy store during this age, and I saw them all the time. And I bought a good portion of them just as cool army guys to play guys in the backyard with. And my buddy had a ridiculous amount of G.I. Joes, and he knew all their names. So, like, when we were picking guys in the backyard or whatnot, like to play war or play guys or whatever, I would be like, oh, I'm this guy. And he'd be like, that's this guy, and he'd tell me something about him. So, like, I knew just enough information by association to basically play. And I did like them. They were a toy of my era, and I remember I had a lot of them. But I would buy them from the store and make up my own storyline because I'm like, oh, this dude looks like this. This is his story. And Snake Eyes was one of those things that I bought constantly because he was cool. If I seen him on the cover of a comic book, he would get my attention. He was cool. Like, I know Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe. That's about it. I mean, I know a lot of other stuff too, I guess, offhandedly. But nothing big. Like, it's weird. Like, I know parts of the story. Like, I know that Snake Eyes is involved with Scarlet. But in the cartoon, from what I think I've heard, he's not. She's involved with Duke. But I think Lady J is with... Is J with Duke? Or is Lady J with Flint? See, I don't know G.I. Joes. I don't know them. I don't know them. Okay, I checked. Spaded one is correct. It's a big robotic scorpion with a Mortal Kombat scorpion looking guy wearing bright red shades and a Rambo clothes. I'll have to see this guy. Was it Jim and the Holograms? No. I know that I wasn't watching Jim and the Holograms. I'm positive of that. I'm going to have to look this thing up. Knowing is half the battle. Snake Eyes is cool, so yeah. Yes, we are at 5 minutes. Oh, let me see here. We're at 5 viewers, 5 votes. The vote is done. Commando Snake Eyes has won. And I'm fine with that, because this looks like a cool figure. It's also pretty big, to be fair. Okay. Here we go. This is Commando Snake Eyes, as far as I'm aware. We have talked about this over and over and over again with Joe's and my amount of knowledge. This Snake Eyes, I only remember because I had this Snake Eyes. Like, I remember specifically having this Snake Eyes when I was a kid. Because I had the one that was more like a ninja, and then I had this one where it was more just like a soldier with his face covered. And I remember not liking this one as much, but still liking him for what he was. He was Snake Eyes. He was cool. This one comes with timber. This one was on sale. This one was like 40% off. And so I said, Snake Eyes, awesome. Another wolf, awesome. These wolves come in handy. I already have one from the other Snake Eyes. Now I have 2 wolves. There is a third Snake Eye. This Snake Eyes that has another wolf. I don't think I'm going to get him. I like the wolves. Let's be honest. If that third Snake Eyes went on sale, and if he was on sale enough for me to justify it, I would buy it because it would give me 3 wolves. Right now I have 2 wolves. So I can do some pretty cool shots with some barbarians where they're kind of getting attacked by a couple of wolves. But that's all I can do. If I had 3 or 4 wolves, I could really go crazy with images like that. Like when it snows outside and I go outside and I can set it up where, like, you know, the barbarian is there and they got their sword and they're kind of backed into a corner and they got hungry wolves coming at them, 2 or 3 of them. That would be a really cool shot. And I know I could get it with 3 wolves. I could get it really well with 4. 2, it's going to take a bit of trickery. I can make it work, but it's not going to be as cool of an image because, of course, all my barbarians are going to be bigger than this wolf. But 2 timbers is awesome. And I could probably do some cool stuff where just like a barbarian is walking with a cool wolf or something too. Those can be a cool static shot, which will work pretty well. But all in all, that's about all I have. I bought this because it was on sale. I bought this because it was cool. I bought this because it's Snake Eyes. Does this break my rules? No. Snake Eyes is one of those things that stands out to me in my life, even though I am not associated with G.I. Joe very much. He is such an iconic thing that he could not escape my attention. Like, that's crazy that he passed the boundaries. Even today, I don't know G.I. Joe. But I know Snake Eyes, and I like him, and I want him, and I buy him in multiple forms, almost like I do with Spider-Man. Everybody kept telling me Desert Snake Eyes is a waste of money. He's just an egregious repaint. Then I saw Desert Snake Eyes, and I said, I want him. I want it. I don't care. I want it. Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes is for me. Like, I'll also put it out there. I don't consider myself a kid of the 80s. I am 41. I'm from 84. But I consider myself a kid of the 90s, realistically. And I know there was a ninja craze in the 80s. And to say that it didn't hit me in some way would be a lie. Because ninjas has been one of those things that they're cool all the time. They never escape me. Like, I can't help it. There is an 80s thing going on there when I think about it. I was not left unscathed from the big 80s ninja craze, I think, realistically. I guess that makes sense because Ninja Turtles was like the first thing that really really gripped me. It was like my big first real fandom. Interesting. Let's open this guy. Okay. So, first off, timber. This right here is why we call out McFarlane. This, guys, Timber is a fully articulated wolf. His paws move, his hind legs move, the knee, the thighs move. He has a fully articulated tail. I mean, this part doesn't move, but he has a mid-torso that moves. He has an upper neck area that moves. He has a lower neck area that moves. His legs go out. They go in. They go forward. He can lay down. He can take postures. He can do whatever you need him to do. He's fully articulated and also has an extra head sculpt. This, with all these guns, with this, this, and this, and a fully articulated figure, and this is a 2-pack, and it's like $50-$60. But Elite McFarlane, elite. For all the crap that Maximum got, for all the hate, for all the anger that Maximum got, why do I not see video after video after video calling out Elite? What is happening? How can he justify that price tag? I can't see it. We got a dog with that girl from Fallout. It's a slug. It doesn't move. It's stuck like this forever. Zero articulation. And it's not even painted as well as this. And then we got a figure that looks fine. One could argue this figure is just, just like pure black. There's only one paint app on this guy that I could think of. I think the shades, the glasses might be a paint op because that's not the same plastic as is here. If it was, it would all be the same color. So I think the glasses, and up here on this little thing that says like G.I. Joe or whatever. No, it just says, it's like the G.I. Joe symbol and it has two zeros. But this guy, fully posable. He's got all this gear on him. He's looking like, if you did it right, you could use this guy as a custom base. If you used this guy correctly as a custom base and changed this headpiece, this guy would make a fairly solid base to create a Shadow Moses Solid Snake. I really can't believe there are not solid Metal Gear figures based on this scale. Like, it's obvious that just these guys alone could do it. Now, he doesn't have any extra hands, which could be considered a problem because he's only got gun finger hands, trigger finger hands. But because of what he is, I don't think it's really that big of a deal. I don't think that's where that goes. Okay, so he's got the big knife here, which as far as I'm aware goes there. He has the handgun, which goes in there. He has the silencer, which I'm pretty sure goes there. And this will be the first Joe that I have seen in this line. I don't buy every single one of them. But he's the first Joe I've seen in this line that cannot carry all of his weapons. Because now he's literally got 3 guns and 2 hands. And there's no pouch or anything that I'm seeing that would carry one of these. And the guns don't have any kind of thing, like, so you can't put it on his back. He does have the hole in his back for a backpack, but he did not come with one. So this will be the first one that I've seen where you pick one gun and you give it to him and you don't really consider the other ones, which is fine. I'm 100% on board with that. I don't hate the idea. He also didn't come with a stand. A lot of the other Joes have come with stands. Not that I can't make something for him. And he's very simple. I mean, he is what he is. He's a solid black figure with a lot of detail. He's really cool. He is the Commando Snake Eyes that I grew up with. And, for what it's worth, my Commando Snake Eyes that I grew up with was just black plastic. Black. Then you paint it. They casted it. They were like, hey, we need a Joe that's not going to cost us too much to produce. And somebody was like, here, don't paint it. Like, I mean, that's kind of really what they did. Is it crazy that Snake Eyes was probably a cost-cutting maneuver? I mean, realistically, Snake Eyes, this Snake Eyes, because this is, if I'm not mistaken, this was the Snake Eyes. Commando Snake Eyes was the first Snake Eyes, I think. I'm not going to claim to be an expert here. I've already discussed G.I. Joes multiple times. Check the playlist if you want to know. Is it crazy that I think this was technically the first Snake Eyes? And he was probably a cost-cutting procedure. Hey, we got a bunch of these guys. We need another, but we don't really have any budget left. And then they were like, just don't paint him here. And I really think that's basically what happened. In a business sense, it's just like when you have an entire video game and you make Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and there's no actual reason to have just a color swap guy other than it doesn't eat up as much memory. And that's pretty much it. Like, you could save memory on your game and development time by simply color swapping Sub-Zero and Scorpion. There you go. And yet, I think that Snake Eyes is kind of the same thing. I think he was a cost-cutting procedure, which gave rise to probably the coolest character in their franchise. That's wild to me. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't know a whole lot of Joe's. But I have a feeling I'm not. And that is wild. And it really goes to show that you really don't know what is going to connect with audiences. I mean, you could try, but oftentimes it's what you don't expect has the most pull. And we've seen that a lot in different fandoms. It's just kind of wild to me. Let's see. Nope, I did not mean to do that. Okay, let's do this. Okay, we are going to do there. Oh. There. Let's see. Batting 1,000 on these picks. I regret letting this timber go. I have the Mezco version, and this Hasbro timber actually has better articulation. That surprises me, actually. But I have actually said it a couple times. I think, personally, that somehow G.I. Joe has somehow managed to sneak its way into probably being the best value figure on the market. Like, for what they give you, how well it's done, how much you get, and what it costs. It's almost pound for pound, plastic for plastic, the best value toy line out there right now. I really think that. I'm not going to call you stupid, because I don't know what it means either. I don't. I've never thought about it, and I've never bothered to look it up. So you say that, but now I'm actually sitting here thinking, I don't know what it means either. Like, a couple things run through my mind, but I actually don't know what it means off the top of my head. The Hasbro timber had a hinge at the tail. It's and its wrists. Mezco doesn't, and the neck has more range. Everything else is better on the Mezco. Okay. we are currently at 5 viewers, which means our votes currently at 4 votes. Play Arts is actually winning. DC and Marvel are tailing behind. There's 1 vote to go. We're at 2 minutes, so I'm going to let it go for a minute and see if anything happens. So far, Play Arts Kai is winning. Government issue or general issue. Now, I know I can't prove this, but I was thinking government issue. But then I kept thinking to myself, that seems awfully vague. Wouldn't it? Like, my mind was telling me that seemed really vague. And that I was just kind of placing words. So I figured I had to be wrong. So if you're right, I didn't realize, or rather I second-guessed myself out of being right. Generalized infantry. I mean, normally when it comes to this kind of stuff, he does tend to know. I don't know. So I can't argue one way or another about it in any way, in reality. Okay, well, we are at 3 minutes, 4 votes. And no, actually, so we've gone down to a 4 right now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna call it, and Play Arts Kai won. Like, that surprises me. And it'll also be the first time that we have done this for this show ever. Ever. We have not opened a Play Arts Kai on this show that I could think of. I have some Play Arts Kai, but I don't think we've ever opened a single one on this show and talked about it. We've also never opened a video game on this show. But in order to get the Kai, I had to get a game. So, let's do this. I'm not going to flip this one. Tomb Raider. This I found at a store for $90. And I really argued with myself about whether or not this would be worth it at all. So here's the thing. This is my favorite Tomb Raider game ever made. I think it is the best one they ever did. I think that. I think that the 3 games in this series are the best the Tomb Raider series has ever been. My favorite design and attitude of Tomb Raider was Legends. I think that is where I had the most interest. That's the way that I'm going to put it. It's the way that makes the most sense to me. See, here's the thing. This right here, when I started in Tomb Raider, I started in the original game on PlayStation. And it was hard, unforgiving, and irritating for my age. The save points were vast. It was difficult to get past certain areas, and you would save, and then the save point would go away, so you could only use it like once, and if you used it too soon, like, the save points were a real problem in the original. She moved like a tank, And for all those people that hate tank controls, let me tell you something. She had the worst tank controls in PlayStation that I can remember for good games. A lot of people talk about things like Resident Evil and tank controls. But you weren't expected to do what you're expected to do in Tomb Raider. Now, I'm not saying that the game didn't work. It was built on a grid. So if you got used to its crap factor, and you started to learn, she will always jump this distance. She will always move this distance. She will always take this many steps. She will always step to the right. She will always center in this way. She will always grab a ledge via this many squares. You could start to lock down exactly what the game wanted you to do. I did beat 2 of them that I can remember. I do remember I beat the second one. I don't remember beating the first one. And then I remember, I feel like I may have beat Revelation. That feels right. I own all of them. I have never played the original ones seriously because they are hard, they are old, they feel old. And in all honesty, they felt old when they came out. I love Laura. And let's be honest about the figure. Let's be honest about the character. Not because she was hot. I get it all the time. You like any girl, and it's always because she's hot. You can never like a character for what they are. I liked her because she was the female Indiana Jones. And I felt that. And she was like, take no bullshit. Like, she was so cool. She was very much a 1930s superhero or pulp action hero type of thing, but she was a woman. And she would like outgun guys and things like that. She always had some like witty remark that she could throw out. She was just over the top. It was so fun, so cool. And then she went to Legends. And that is when I started playing the games seriously. I beat Legend. I loved Legend. Legend was my favorite game for a very long time. I played the Underworld. I liked those games. The Legend era was my favorite era. That's also where I feel like her personality came about for things like the comic books and whatnot. I own every Tomb Raider comic book. I bought the compendium. I loved them at that time. Going back and reading them again, which I did recently, it's a hit and miss series. Some of it is very good and still holds up today as fantastic, pulpy action stories. Some of it does not. And it's noticeable. And the artwork changes, like literally book to book, which can be extraordinarily jarring. Artwork, consistent artwork and design is important to storytelling. The story and writers change constantly. It's tough. It was a tough read to go back through it. But I remember I really liked it at that time. And I like a lot of the side stuff. And I like that she was woven into the universe alongside things like Witchblade. And Witchblade was something I was reading at the time. So there could be that just this era of Tomb Raider worked for me because it was mixed into so many other things. And it was part of this other comic group that made me feel special. I'm not going to lie about it. Sometimes you like something that not everybody else likes, and it makes you feel like you got this one up on somebody. It's true. We felt like that sometimes. I was reading Witchblade. I was reading Magdalena. I was reading Fathom, however you're supposed to say that. I was reading Angela. I was reading Tomb Raider. Other people were reading Spider-Man. I felt a certain way, okay? And When Legends came out, and all of a sudden it played better, it moved better, she fought better, like the motorcycle scenes and stuff like that, and like, I never felt like I was not in control during that era. That was my Tomb Raider. 100%. And when I think about the character, when I go back in my mind, it is her specifically that my mind references as the Lara Croft. They brought her back down to earth a little bit, still kept her a badass, and then gave her an entire crew that worked around her, and then pushed her forward in a whole different idea. And I think that Lara is better than the original Lara, and better than this one. This Lara is cool for a first-time story. It works. And this game is superior. This is one of the best games ever made. I'm not exaggerating that. I'm dead serious. That's the reason I had no problem buying this set. Because I wanted the figure. I've never had a Lara Croft figure. Ever. I've never seen one in person that I could buy, and never saw one online for a price that I feel was worth the price they were asking for the kind of figure that I would have gotten. Never. But here's a chance to own a collector's edition of one of the best games ever made. A redesign of Lara Croft that has stood the test of time, if we're being fair. A design of games that as of yet has not produced a bad game. The 3 games that came out of Square here, they're nearly flawless. Even if you like one more than the other, and maybe you don't feel for one necessarily, it's kind of like saying, well, like, Mega Man 4 is really good, but Mega Man 5 is just kind of more of the same. Oh, so you mean really good? 'Cause I'm sorry, but Mega Man 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they're all Mega Man. Mega Man. And they're all good. They're all just what they're supposed to be. And I could say the same thing for these games. They're all Tomb Raider. And all 3 of them feel right. So, I go in the shop and I see this, and with all that information that I just gave you, I wasn't going to turn down this opportunity. I did go online and I looked around. And with this being $90, I said to myself, is it worth it? Could I just buy the figure? Well, I got to looking for the figure. And on the regular, the figure seems to cost about $80 anyway. If I'm going to just buy the figure for $80, why not get this game, which I've already told you is one of the best games ever made. I'm not exaggerating. I don't care. It is. It's one of my favorite games they have ever made, ever in the history of video games. I have beat this game 100% multiple times. So it does not bother me to buy it again. 1, I get the game. I have an extra copy in case something ever happens to mine. 2, I get Lara. 3, I actually get a map. 4, I get these Polaroid things. 5, I get this really cool like survival box, which I'm going to repurpose for weapons and such, and probably another effects box for all my figures. Because I'm still getting things like explosion pieces and things like that that I could very much use another box for. Here it is. So, this is really cool. Like, I really like this. I think this is really cool. Survival kit, that's really neat. It's got the symbol down there. I think that's cool. It just opens this way. So, of course, we have the game. We have a soundtrack, which might be pretty cool. Hard to say. I mean, the music is what it is, and it's fine for what it is, but nothing that I feel was, like, iconic came out of the music of those games. Like, I never find myself, like, sitting around being like, oh my god, I can't get this track out of my head. we have this, which I'm pretty sure is the map and a really, really cool image of Laura. This is the part that I think is probably the part I like the most. I would like to frame this and put the island up. So I got that. It also came with this like neat kind of Polaroid thing of Laura. That's really cool. I like that. Oh no. Oh, a DLC pack. Oh, some DLC. Oh man, that's going to be really helpful now, isn't it? And then the quote star of the show here. Oh, that's cool. It's a patch. That's cool. Oh, there are multiple patches. So these are the different symbols from the game, which that's really cool. Some fluff. And then this. We aren't looking at anything too extreme here. We have the hook, we have the shotgun, we have the handgun, just one for this Laura. We have 3 different hands. We have the bow, we have an arrow, we have some instructions. And we have Laura herself. And this, in terms of this show, is the one thing that we were really going to dive into. All the other stuff I'm not too worried about, looking at the hands and things like that. I'll figure that out later. I have said it for a while now. PlayArts Kai is overpriced for what you get. And I've stuck to that. I have often said that PlayArts Kai, it breaks easy, it often doesn't pose well, it doesn't have a lot of the detail that I feel it should have. These are nearly $100 figures, okay? That's the problem. PlayArts often is almost $100 or more for their figures. They also don't scale to anything you have in your collection. They're huge. Case in point, as to being huge, let me do this. Here's Laura. Here's Batman. This is them standing right next to each other on the same footing. You could maybe get away with the McFarlane figures because they stand tall, but Laura's bigger than Batman. She's taller than Batman. Batman! So by the scaling, I would argue this doesn't make sense. And that's true for all of these that they release. Now, all that being said, the price is a little more forgivable on this because it came in a pack with the game and all this stuff. That means that price-wise, she was probably a $50 character roughly. Maybe. That's weird. I have never seen this on a figure ever. And I mean literally ever. I've never seen what I'm about to show you. She has toe articulation. But not like this. Like this. That is bizarre. And I can't even begin to understand what pose exactly is requiring that. Her feet seem to go this way, but I'm not getting any ankle rock, which makes me feel like there isn't any ankle rock, and that's the reason that the boot moves, which is just weird. It does move forward, and it moves back, and it turns to the side. There's no rock on the ankle. That does bother me a bit. The knee. So, the knee goes all the way up to kick her own butt. But the knee also exposes this weird, like there's not a kneecap here. You see what I mean? So that's kind of bizarre. But that's PlayArt's Kai. Just like the other figures in this line, there's like a diaper thing going on here. I know that it's hard to explain it, but this is like a material that's like laid over. It's like soft. See, you can pull it out. It's like soft. So she's got a soft butt. And then that allows give in the movement of the leg. So when she moves her leg up or back, it kind of gets out of her way. Her butt gets out of her own way. But it causes this kind of problem right here, where now the leg is up and this kind of pinches. So now you're kind of going up and it tries to pinch into that. That's a problem with PlayArt's Kai in general and other figures that do this. And McFarlane being one of those figures that does that. He does the diaper thing as well, actually. The shirt feels like a plastic. There's a decent amount of give here. Well, no, never mind. So this, like, I'm seeing this. Like, you see that? How that comes open. I don't like that. So there's about this much movement. And I don't want to force it too much. And the reason I don't want to force it too much is because I've had a couple of PlayArts. One of them specifically that I bought was back with Final Fantasy 13. I bought Lightning. I moved her forward in the lower ab crunch, and she popped. And to this day, I can get her back together, but she's never went back together perfectly ever again. Literally ever again. So, I'm pretty careful about this middle crunch here. This lower ab crunch, I don't want to force it. It has the movement that it has. The upper ab crunch, the upper torso movement, seems decent enough. This is loose, the little belt part, which is fine. I'm not saying anything bad about that. I think that's cool. Okay. PlayArts still uses these like really hardcore balls, like these ball joints, and there's a couple problems with them. One, and this is an older figure, but you will still see this on even newer PlayArts Kais sometimes. The plastic is a different color here than it is here and here. And I also had that on my Wonder Woman. Back when they released the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman, it was the same problem. She had the heavy ball joints and whatnot. And that Wonder Woman actually, a couple of her parts broke right out of the box. Her shield broke and her lasso broke right out of the box. I have not had great luck with PlayArts Kai. Decent amount of color and everything here. Works for what it's meant to be. She can kind of T-pose. I can get her arm up there. We can do it. There seems to be some kind of butterfly system. Like, you see, she can get her arms to do this. This is important because they gave her a bow, And if she's going to have a bow, she needs to be able to cross her arms to a certain degree in order to be able to do things like draw the bow and everything of that nature, which I'm noticing right here, she has a draw factor. This arm actually goes back and this moves forward, so I'm not going to have a problem doing anything with the bow and whatnot. And I think she has the bow hands on right now. The face, it's printed pretty well. How do I put this? It works, but it's lifeless. And now this can be hard to explain. But if you're looking at the face, okay, there's just a deadness to it. Like from any angle, she just looks uninterested and kind of dead. There's a lot of paint here, which really brings her to life. She looks decent for what it's worth. But, like, you don't see that kind of deadness in, like, this McFarlane face. And I know the camera only focuses what it focuses, but you seeing the difference here? She kind of looks alive, attitude, vibrant, like, and she is literally a quarter of the price of a Kai. So, like, that's a problem. PlayArt's Kai always feels off for the money that you pay. I will never not have that opinion. Especially now I'm seeing like the Final Fantasy VII releases where they're like smaller figures and they're still like $117 or more. Are you kidding me? 5.5 inches or whatever? Get out of here. But for what it's worth, for what I'm seeing here, she can carry her stuff, which will be cool when I start opening and everything and putting it on her. Square Enix didn't mess around on that butt. She got cheeks. Her hair is not in the way. I'm going to give it that. That's impressive. Because the hair will sometimes literally be in the way. And it's articulated. So, like, you can do a thing, like, if you get her posed right, it kind of looks like she's falling. Or if you turn her head to the side, it can look like the tail kind of went up. Or you can, like, lay it back across the shoulders and whatnot. Or even lay it down across the front if you're trying to get a certain kind of shot. That's not bad. An articulated ponytail allows it to stay out of the way. And so it doesn't obstruct any of the head's movement. So here's the thing. Where am I rating this? Well, if I had got this back when the game first came out, and then started playing the game, I probably could have got attached to this figure, realistically. Had I bought it after the game, around the time that I was doing all the conventions and everything, and I was buying PlayArt's Kai, she probably would have fell into the exact same area of feelings that I have for PlayArt's Kai. I just don't give a crap. I do not buy them. This is a special case. Do not expect to see us review PlayArt's Kai on this channel. It is not a thing. I feel they are overpriced and way behind their time for what they're demanding. But beings that I'm at the point that I'm at now, I'm not expecting way too much. I got her in a special pack with a bunch of other stuff. Technically, I only paid $90 for the pack. One could argue that all the stuff included, including the game, I haven't looked the game up in a while. This is a factory sealed game, so I'm going to assume $20. Maybe I'm wrong. And it's very well that I could be. I don't pay attention to game prices the way I used to. I don't really buy, trade, and sell the way that I used to inside of games. So I don't know. But I'm assuming around, I'm assuming you could probably get this game for anywhere from $12 to $20. I'm guessing. But that's not sealed. Mine is factory sealed. Maybe that takes the value of the game up to somewhere around 30 or 40, maybe, even. I don't know. I'm very hardcore speculating. If that's true, that makes her value somewhere in the range of a $50 figure. I have had better $50 figures, but I'm also trying to give it certain benefits as to its time when it was created. One, this came with a game. Think about other collector's items you've gotten from games and how awful they were, how cheap they were, how sad they were. You thinking about some of that stuff that you picked up from video game collector's editions? Like statues that were made of like cheap plastic that broke very easily? Little trinket toys that you were like, you probably spent 10 minutes with and went, yeah, I'm real glad I got that. Posters that didn't even make it, literally. I mean, really think about it. A little binder book thing that really meant nothing, that you never did anything with. Cool stuff, man. I got patches that I can actually put on my jean jacket. Will I? I might, actually. I might actually do it. If I can sew them onto my jean jacket, I probably will. I like my jean jacket. I've worn jean jackets. I mean, look, guys, I told you. I'm 41. When I grew up and went to high school, I wore a jean jacket. I still have a jean jacket today. Okay? I'm sorry. I've noticed they've come back into circulation, like people are wearing jean jackets again, so now I can be cool. I can't. My daughter tells me I'm too old to be cool. But I still have a jean jacket. I'll probably sew those patches onto it. Nobody will probably know what those are, but they'll be there, and they'll be for me. I have a really cool poster that I can hang up. I have the little Polaroid thing, which does nothing for me, but it's there. But I could probably put it somewhere over on the shelf as a background that nobody will necessarily know what it is until they really look at it. I don't think I got anything that I can't use from this, realistically, which is surprising for what it is. Looking at her. Hold on. You know, I've seen better, but this is not the worst likeness that I have ever seen. With correct lighting and movement, I don't think I'm imagining it. I think it's there. I don't necessarily think this is the best face ever. Like I said, there's something lifeless about it. But I just showcased that right next to an actual portrait of her, if you got her at the right angle and you take the right shot, she's going to look good. She's also an old figure that has butterflies, like butterfly joints. That may not sound like a big deal to some people, but I've got figures on this shelf that they're selling today that are in the $50, $60, $70, and $80 range that don't got butterflies. So, like, congrats. She may be the first and only Play Arts Kai that I appreciate. With caveat. Of course, she is from something I like a lot. She is a character that I like a lot. The design is solid. It works for what it is. It came with the game. I think it's true. I think it's the first and only PlayArts Kai that I have opened, spent time with, and still say, aside from my Cloud, I like my Cloud. Even though he has problems. His wrist is all funky because even day one he couldn't actually hold that sword because, of course, he can't. But otherwise, he's a good figure. He's been a solid figure. I never do anything with him except for having him stand there. Which kind of makes him a statue, which kind of makes him trash. Whatever. I like the Cloud, okay? Maybe that's a thing. Maybe there's an episode in the future where I will say things like, hey, let's go over all the PlayArts Kai I have because we've talked about it. There's not much, but let's show it off regardless. I don't know. I like her. I don't feel like I got screwed on this one. And that says a lot from something that I don't like. I don't like PlayArts Kai for the most part. But she seems like she may have passed the test here. The more I look at her, she looks good. There are flaws, but she's an old figure. She was part of a video game collection. Her quality is unbelievable on that point alone. I think she's a win. Interested. Let's see. There are a lot of comments. Doop, doop, doop. Let's get this first, and then I will start going through comments. Okay, let's put that. Let's do this. We'll move you over here. Oh. And let's do there. There, that sets those things up to start. I'll find some figures for that Laura to hang out with. You know, people keep telling me that the Power Girl is too big. Maybe I could get away with putting the Power Girl alongside her in a couple of shots, or having her literally hang out with Wonder Woman, and they could be the same size, and that doesn't necessarily make any real sense, but since the figures are close enough that I might be able to get away with it for some shots, maybe I can do something like that. I'll find something. She's not a bad figure, which says a lot for a toy line that I actually do not like. Let's see. Okay, I looked it up. GI was originally just used for weaponry. It meant the material the guns were made from, galvanized iron, and then it was used so much that it became general issue. It became a popular term during World War I to generalize items issued by the government or issued for the military. And World War II called each other General Issue Joe. And World War II soldiers called each other General Issue Joes because there were a lot of them and easily replaceable if dead, which is... that would be really bad. You like the guy character because of how badass they are? Of course. You like the girl character? Let me guess, because she's hot, right? Dude, I get it. No, yeah, dude, I get that all the time. I can't like any of the girl characters because the only reason I would like them is because they're hot. Like, all the time. I'm not saying that there aren't some female characters out there that I like only because of that. Yeah, there are some. There are some where I'm like, yeah, she's hot. And that's about the only thing that I actually care about. But no, I'm a very character-centric person. If I don't like the character, they don't really hold any bearing for me. I don't care how hot they are. You can find hot all over the internet. Just go look. Like, why would you waste your money or time on something if that's your only reason for liking a thing? Yes, most times because hot, but I like characters above all else. Something can look good and be a bad character. Something can look ugly and be a compelling character. Okay, seriously, got a nitpick, but sorry, Bill. Do you call her Laura? So I fight with myself about this. I've called her Lara and Laura. And I'm not 100% sure at which general pronunciation I should use, in all honesty. Because even the people that have created her have had her pronounced differently in games. So, I mean, I guess it's up for debate. But, I mean, her name, it's Lara, if I'm not mistaken. Which is funny that now I'm sitting here actually having to look, but I'm almost 100% sure. Yeah, I was right. Fun fact, Crystal Dynamics was originally going to make the Tomb Raider reboot a survival horror game. There were leaked concepts back then. Some elements, however, did carry over. In ways, I could see that from the way the game plays and the way the game kind of works. Gotta say, I just say every classic mainline Mega Man game is great. Because to me, if one's great, they're all great. They're samey, but I love them. One game I absolutely love that was published by Square Enix is Deus Ex Human Revolution. There is a Play Arts figure of the main character I've always wanted. I've seen that game, I have never played it. By the way, unrelated to the figure, my best friend told me to ask you, Bill, do you know about or ever played Super Robot Wars games? I feel like you being a mecha guy. I played one. I don't remember which one it was, and I remember it being on an emulator. Well, hold on. I also feel like I remember playing one. Was it for the DS? It was on a Game Boy system. I wonder if it was the DS. But no, it's not something I actively seek out. I like it. But for everything that I know of it, there's so much of it that then I don't know. And like, cameos are really cool when you know them. When you don't know them, they're just like wasting space to get to the stuff that you do know. And sometimes, like, when those mass crossover games happen, like, so much stuff is lost on you. And if you don't have the drive to go in and literally study as if it was literally like you going back to college, I'm going to become a super robot expert. Like it's just, it's sometimes it feels too overwhelming when there's so much stuff they want to throw at you that, like, I don't hate them and I think they're really cool. And the ones that I played, I do like, but like, I don't go out of my way for that reason. Taller than Bruce. Yes. Which doesn't make sense. Good thing you clarified that they were ball joints. Hearing hardcore balls out of context. Emotionless character face. Noted. It's kind of crazy because during my gaming days, I would see Play Arts Kai figures advertised like crazy online. Now, not so much. Yeah, you did. You've seen them everywhere. I know exactly what you're talking about. And, like, I was always, like, envious when I would see it online. Like, I'd see, like, a channel or whatever, and they'd be like, check out these Play Arts Kai. And I'd be like, it'd be so cool to have all those Final Fantasy characters. Then I got, like, 5 or 6 of them and was like, oh, these are trash. Like, and it really disappointed me. It made me sad. So this was just a special, we're doing this just now. If you ask for this again, fuck off type deal. So here's the thing. We've talked about my collection rules, and I keep those very, very realistic. If it doesn't have a story, if I can't go into some kind of actual detail as to why I give a crap, it doesn't belong here. And every now and then I do end up buying something that kind of breaks that rule. And you'll notice that sometimes at the end of the year when we go over the shelves, I will mention, I bought this, it was on a whim, I thought it was this, it turned out to not be that, or it doesn't necessarily capture the emotion I was hoping for, it's gone. And we get rid of stuff every year at the end of year debate. Every single year we get rid of stuff. Because if it doesn't have a story, if it doesn't capture my imagination, if it doesn't hold my interest, if it doesn't say something about me, my interests, my life, my stuff in general, this is a museum to me. If it doesn't fit, it's got to go. So, play arts, being the way that I feel about them, most of the time, they will have no place in this collection. And even if they do get a place in this collection, most of them will not hold that place for very long. Because I don't feel that they are quality. And the second something comes along that can replace it, it does. Fast. I almost wanted to say to buy Sephiroth, but there's... well, I thought about it. Because I have a cloud. And see, that's one of those things, like, all the Final Fantasy VII characters, if I could get them all and not break the bank, because I don't feel that Play Arts is worth the price that they're asking, but if I could find some kind of clearance to get figures from Play Arts, I would, but that simply is not really a thing that exists, and that's a problem all on its own. Before we continue, I believe that Marvel Legends has actually won, so let me post up some Legends real quick. Okay, so we have... Where is it? There. And we also have... because he just came in today. Yes. Dupe. All right, go back up here. Fashion is cynical. No, I know. I said cynical. To be fair, I guess I was kind of right at the same time, though. Also, I feel like I know what the answer will be, but thoughts on Kingdom Hearts? We don't have the time to talk about Kingdom Hearts. But if you would like to hear my take on Kingdom Hearts, that game series makes me so mad, so irritated, that realistically, I have trouble remembering things while I complain about it. I'm not kidding. There is actually an episode called Kingdom Hate. It is on Fandom Night. And I played that game for the review. I bought it. I played it. Then Shane asked me how I felt about it. And Shane brought his wife to that episode, who loves that game. And I tear into that game for almost 2 straight hours. I do not have a love for it. I do not think it deserves the praise that it gets at the rate that it gets it. And I am shocked that it is as big a game franchise as it is. I mean, I am stupefied that it has gone as far as it has gone. Having the restrictions that I talk about, the problems that I talk about, the camera that it had, and the story that it was trying to do. I mean, there has never been a game I can think of that has bothered me as much as that game has bothered me. I know people love it. I can't figure out why. Kingdom Hate, the controller pile-up on the Fandom Night YouTube channel. That's how I feel about that game. I'm going to see if I can find it real quick. I will post the link in the chat for people. I did. I found it. There. It's in there. I feel a certain way about it. Surprisingly enough, I don't see Bill having that vibe. There must have been another message here. It got retracted. So it probably said something, and then you probably said something. Bill doesn't even like 3D Sonic. I remember liking one of them, and I don't remember what one. Like one of them. My mind will not process what one it was. I remember liking one of them. I don't remember anything about it. Otherwise, most of the time, you're right. Most of the 3D Sonics I remember left a really bad taste in my mouth. Ooh. There's a tie going on here. A 3-way tie in the Marvel Legends vote. Don't delete message. For the record, Bill, the vibe was, how do you feel... Oh, sorry. How do you do... How do you do, fellow kids? Dude, I love that, by the way. I love Steve, by the way. Like, anything that he does, I love that guy. He's so fantastic. Sometimes I do feel like that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm in this weird state in my life. I'm going to be 100% real with you. I did a video a while back, what is it like to be a 40-year-old collector? I think that video has a lot of merit. You should, if you haven't seen it, you should go see it. You should put a like on that video. I think it really explains what it's like to be in my state. But listen, here's the thing. I'm at a point where I still like to go, like I go to toy cons. I fit in there. A lot of guys like me are walking around at the toy con, the toy show. It seems to be just a thing. A lot of guys like me show up at the video game show, like the VideoCon. But I go to the Comic Con, and it's not that I don't necessarily fit in. There's a lot of guys that are my age that are walking around there. But one of the things that I love, and I love it a lot, I like really, really admire it. I think it's amazing. Cosplay blows my mind. When people get it right, it just blows me away. I absolutely love it. Like what? Like I'm walking through the convention and lightning walks by me. And I mean, it's her. Jill Valentine walks by. It's her. A full 100% authentic Batman crosses my path. Like, that kind of stuff is crazy. And then I sometimes want a picture of them or with them. And it's not that they care, but I do. Every now and then there's this like weird feeling. Like these are 20-something-year-old kids that are like hanging out at the convention. And here comes 41-year-old white-bearded geezer man. And he's like, oh shit, I love Zelda. Can I get a picture of you or with you? And like, it does feel like, how do you do, fellow kids? Like, it feels like that sometimes. It really does. Anime conventions are the worst for it. Anime seems to be a young person's game. Not that I don't still watch anime, not that I don't still like anime, not that I don't still read some manga here and there, but I don't keep up like I used to. And when I go to an anime convention, it is horrifically noticeable that 90% of the audience is like kids. Like young people. And I'm not. And it helps to be in like a bigger city where there's a lot more older people that are going. Because look, we grew up in anime. See, that's the thing. I shouldn't feel weird about it. We were there first. It was our generation specifically that made it what it is today. We're the ones that bought the VHSs. We're the ones that went to the backlots. We're the ones that got like I had a buddy that used to have a friend online that would record the VHSs of the animes and literally mail them to us. And we couldn't understand what people were even saying sometimes because we would get full Japanese episodes and we would just watch them like, oh shit, oh this is sick, oh my god. Like, we watched X like that. I'm the one that... I grew up watching the original Guyver. We watched what we thought was Macross, Robotech. Like, we lived through this. We made it what it is. We brought it to the masses. We gave it its airtime. We made it what it is today. We shouldn't feel weird about wanting to hit the anime con. But sometimes you very much feel like, how do you do, fellow kids, when you hit certain cons, because they're very much a younger person's game. Even YouTube, in a way, feels like a younger person's game. Most of the channels that will outdo me are younger people. That is inevitable, or at least it feels. I don't hate that. In fact, in reality, I understand it. Sometimes you very much want the opinion of somebody that's about your age that can talk to you on your level and things like that. And sometimes I'm not that guy. I get it. 100% understood. But it does kind of bring out that quote right there sometimes. I don't think you necessarily missed too much. We did talk about Batman. We did Snake Eyes. We did Laura. We talked a good deal here and there. And of course, like always, I'll break this into chapters. Or you can just go back and watch it anytime you want, man. You know that. And we are still on a tie. I can't open all three for the end of the show, guys. I gotta have something here. I got to do the Thing, Silver Surfer, or Kazar. Kazar. 3 figures, Batman, Snake Eyes, Lara Croft. Yes. Which one is the best today? For the surprise factor of it, I'm going to say Laura was the best figure opened today. But not because she's the best quality, but because I'm genuinely impressed with how much I'm liking her the more I see her here. And the fact that I like her at all surprises me. I have heard it, Lara, and I don't know. I've heard in the games, her mom calls her Lara. Lara Croft. Lara. Stay away from that. Lara. So, like, I'm just saying, pronunciation is a funny thing, and when the video games are calling her something that you're not, I mean, her mom named her. Her mom literally named her. They said, hey, you had a kid, what's the kid's name? And she said, in her accent, Lara. So, if I'm to go by that, then that's how you're supposed to say her name. I mean, her mom can't exactly be wrong about it. You're a mech guy. Do you even Gundam? I do Gundam. What are you talking about, man? I have an entire thing talking about my history in Gundam and the reason that I like it for what it is. Deus Ex Human Revolution is a great game, Bill. It gives you a lot of freedom in ways you want to approach a situation or mission, stealth, or being tactical, hacking, which I like choices like that. I like the play styles that actually lead you to be able to do whatever you want. Did you see the TMNT Last Ronin Re-Evolution Turtles? I did. I saw them a couple days ago. What was it, a couple days ago? Yeah, it was a couple days ago on Big Bad Toy Store. They look pretty cool. Okay, so here's the thing. Shows the Thing from the Fantastic Four. I'm the kind of person that would do that. I don't have him on my desk, or I would probably do that all the time, honestly. And the fact that you just did that probably means that there's going to be a Thing sitting on the desk now. Kingdom Hearts is like if somebody asked Hideo Kojima to make a silly symphony cartoon. Kingdom Hearts is Death Stranding for Disney adults. Sure. Yep, expected you to hate it. I like it personally. Well, I mean, there you go. If you want to know. And by the way, when I talk about it, I'm only talking about the first game. That's it. I don't have an opinion past that, because the first game took me in such a way that as of yet, I have never gone back to play the second. Guys, we're at 14 minutes here. I can't open all 3. I don't have the time. I know Black Widow isn't going to win. I know she's not going to win. We have the Thing, Silver Surfer, or Kazar. I got to open one of them. I feel like I'm going to end up having to, like, roll a dice or something like that. Figures that shouldn't work with Conan figures but do. NECA Flash Gordon, Voltan, Jada Toys Dalsim. Well, sometimes, though, because of the kind of universe that Conan lived in, a lot of like things that you wouldn't expect would work with him, if they have just enough edge, they do. I know that's a thing I should never bring up, like bringing up Digimon in the Fandom Night chat, because Nick is there, my girlfriend's there, Nick despises it, my lady adores it, they will fight. And maybe I don't have the energy to fight about Digimon. I don't care. To also, just to go before, Shane's wife loves Digimon. I was the one who deleted that message. I originally said Bill walking up to the cool kids and saying, "How do you do, fellow kids?" but deleted it because it came off weird on my part. I get it though. I really do. I thought it was peak comedy potential, so I brought it up regardless. An anime convention would drive me insane. I'm thinking on going to SDCC this year, but like walking in, buying toys, and immediately leaving. Dude. If you go, awesome. If you go, awesome. I'm telling you, man, this is like one of those things that, like, I have to have it planned out to go once before I'm 50. Like, I want to go to one. It is the convention for me. It's comic books, it's toys, it's mass expansion of the things that I love. I would go to all kinds of things with that. Like, I've done a lot of conventions and whatnot where I've sat in on things. Like, I've sat with, like, different Power Rangers and things like that. I've talked to Ernie Hudson. I've had time alongside Elvira where I've had to have I've got a chance to have full conversations. I talked to Lou Ferrigno. I had sat into a full convention where we talked with William Shatner twice. I also had a chance to go to a convention where Robert Englund talked a whole bunch of Freddy stuff. That was so cool to sit in on that. Really? Okay. Deciding factor just hit. Silver Surfer. You got to change up that vibe from "How do you do, fellow kids?" to "Listen here, youngsters." Like a sweet handlebar mustache definitely helps. Dude, there was a guy that came into my facility, okay? Because every now and then we have to do things like we invite the police department in, or we invite like fire department in and whatnot, and they kind of walk around our building and we showcase them everything. We say, these are our currently fire detection program, and this is where sprinklers would come, and this is where we keep things like extinguishers and whatnot. If there's a fire, these are the pivot points for like where things, to look out for. So they know our building. So if anything ever does happen, they're not guessing. Like the EMTs and things like that will kind of have a general idea of how to go around our building. And there was this dude this year that came in with the fire department, and he had the most epic mustache that I have witnessed in years. I mean, it was full. It came down. It came all the way down over to here, wrapped up, and came into like a little curl, like a literal curl. Like, I was like, holy shit, this guy. He was bald, so that was the only hair. Was just this freaking fabulous mustache. Like, it was unreal, man. I wanted to be like, dude, sick, but I also didn't want the guy to take it the wrong way. I'm probably so autistic and hyper fixated that I'll be 90 years old and still be caught up with anime and tokusatsu like I was right. And I get that. And that's another thing too. I don't have the time for these shows that run like 500 episodes over and over and over again. Like, oh my God, it's too much. And because I can't keep up, it makes me feel a certain way when I go to these things. Let's see. Bill, I got my TMNT 35th anniversary 5-pack with the Turtles and Spirit Splinter from the 90s. Dude, that VHS box set looked sick. Like, I was not expecting... First off, I wasn't expecting a re-release. Let me fix the camera. Then, not only was I not expecting a re-release, but to see it that good? Holy crap. Like, it's all four of them. It's the Master Splinter. It's the Ghost form. It's Around the Fire. You get all of them. It didn't cost that much. What was it, like $100? That was sick. Maybe it cost a lot more. Maybe I'm kind of missing something. But, I mean, that was unbelievable. It was so solid. That you got yourself something there, man. You really did. Mine are fake. I don't hate them, but like they're not like what you just picked up. Bill gives off the vibes of the Gandalf of otakus, the wise wizard mastermind of what it's like to be a fan of games, manga, and what have you. Oh, that didn't work. There we go. And yes, Bill looking older despite being younger, and my dad helps this wizard vibe. Nick actually wears a wizard hat when we go on vacation. It's amazing. I'm just hoping there's one point in the future where I'm going to a convention where I can meet some Ranger actors, and it turns out you or one of the other crew attend too. Dude, it's not very often that we ever get to meet like direct fans. It's happened at like one convention that I went to. It was like in Chicago, and I met up with a couple people. It'd be awesome. Our Mezco King Conan needs a little buddy. Dude, I might end up opening him on a private video to talk about how he fits a mold for something that, like, Hasbro doesn't do. And that's like a barbarian line. Because he kind of proves they can do it. As a crisp-speaking Englishman, I can tell you the pronunciation of Laura is Lara, not Lara. Okay, see? So, it's okay, so Lara. See, and that's the way her mom says it. From Peoria, Illinois, right? Yes, I am from Illinois. Yes, you are right. I move around a bit. I guess now I'm somewhat stationary, but yes. Imagine you wake up one day, you check your personal server, and you see me post an announcement that there's going to be a con with Sentai Actorson, your town. You're an Elvira. I would never get any work done if I was an Elvira. I'm just gonna tell you. My wife will tell you too. I would never accomplish anything if I was an Elvira. E3 is dead. There's only SDCC for me. I've always fought with myself back and forth. Like, I love the idea of going to E3, but E3 doesn't appeal to me like it did 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I'd have punched somebody in the face to go to E3. Now, it really is SDCC for me. I'm right there with you. Conventions are like vacations to Disney World. You acclimate your savings for you accumulate your savings for the con expenses. Then you get out there and see what you want to buy. You've spent all your money just getting there. Right. Baldy McNose hair. Dude, he really was. Holy crap, man. What is this? That's insanity, man. Holy shit. Back. Also, Mama says hi and she sends love to her favorite son. I think you gotta have me beat there, man. I wanted It's Clobbering Time to win. Well, Half Naked Jungle Wild Man didn't win, but Shala Batty won, so it's win-win. There are 180 for 5-pack. Okay, yeah, all right, so yes. I was wrong about the price, but I knew that it wasn't like overpriced. I mean, for what it is, it was a deal. I just got the Crimson Red exclusive shredder. I saw that, the Dracula Universal shredder. I'm pretty lucky to be in SoCal. I can be in San Diego pretty quick. That's awesome that you can make that trip like you have. I have seen that shredder. That shredder is pretty sick, man. Okay, so let's look at the Silver Surfer people are whining about. Silver Surfer. And yes, regardless of all the people that want to cry that stupid word, it was not woke to add her as the Silver Surfer. for what it's worth, all the people that are currently whining, she's older than you are. She has more right to be here as part of the Marvel Universe than your opinion does. Sorry. Yes, she was created, was it 67 or 68? It was in the 60s, and I think it was in the very later half. I think it was 67 or 68. She's been around for a very long time, okay? I'm also going to say that for what it's worth, this is an alternate universe. It is not the regular canon MCU that we've been hanging out in, very blatantly. Because if it was just a timepiece, then we would already know the Fantastic Four, and there would have already been stories about them, and they would have somehow been referenced. Why do I know this? Because Captain America is referenced. We already have proof that Captain America was a thing, and was a big enough thing, that there are collector's cards and merchandise about him. Alright? Coulson was a Captain America fan before there was Captain America in the Avengers. The Fantastic Four are not. So you know that this is not just a timepiece. It's another multiversal piece that's going to fit the puzzle somehow and play with aspects. And due to that, they can put anybody they want in this movie, and it doesn't have to fit your criteria. It didn't have to be the guy. It could be the girl. And for what it's worth, toy-wise and movie-wise, we've already seen him. And in toy form, we've already seen him multiple times. It is time to see something different. And I think it's going to give a little bit of a kind of a cool edge that changes what we've already seen. I like the idea that Shia LaBeouf is going to be in this movie. I like it a lot, actually. I don't hate it in any way whatsoever. I'm very much looking forward to what they do. And since they will have already established her, whatever they do Universal-wise, when they start playing with stuff, when we get Norrin Rad, it'll be really cool to see how he gets brought in and if she's still around. Look, open up the possibilities here. Don't hold the Fantastic Four back before they've even made their debut. This is something I'm looking forward to a lot. I'm going to point something out about the box that I think most people already know, but I'm going to say it anyway. This box is really awesomely unique. This feels like an old toy before you even open it. Down to the old Hasbro logos. Look at that, Marvel Studios, that font. I know this is all movie, but like, this caught my attention. Also, for what it's worth, this movie, I have very high hopes for this movie. Very high hopes. High enough hopes that I bought all of these. I have all the Fantastic Four figures coming. Because I'm putting a lot of faith and a lot of hope in this movie. And after going to Superman, I'm hoping that comic book movies are about to do a huge turnaround. Because they've been getting very serious. And I'm not saying that serious doesn't have a place, because it very much does. But at the same time, comic book movies should inspire us. They should thrill us. They should excite us. And they should give us something to look forward to. Something to dream about. Something to aspire. And the Fantastic Four looks well. Fantastic. I cannot wait. I am all on board for the Fantastic Four before we even get there. Part of it is these figures. And you know, strangely enough, this is the first and only Silver Surfer that I have ever bought. Let's see it. Okay, well, she comes with this hand, which I don't even know what to say this is. It's a cup hand, but it doesn't grab anything. Maybe it's meant to hold the bottom of the board or something. I don't know. Then, of course, she has two expression hands, just the open expression hands, and the punching hands. And here she is. She's a mostly updated female Buck. Mostly updated female Buck. Still using the middle torso that we've seen on figure after figure after figure. But we've got the dual knee, we've got the double elbow, we've got the full posability, no butterflies, and no lower ab crunch because we decided to go with the original older torso. And I know this is gonna shock you, but she's silver. Like all the way silver. Well, okay, no, sorry. There is a little bit of wash in the hair and on the lips and the face. So, like, it's there, but otherwise she's, you know, silver. But she's not just silver with nothing. Like, the way the light hits her and the way, like, I'm seeing, like, patterns on the legs and everything. I mean, that effect, look, you can see the way that the light hits her. It works. It's very simple. There's nothing crazy about it. But it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It works. And I'm sure that would be true for the other Silver Surfer figures as well. I imagine this is probably just something they've gotten used to in terms of making it work. Maybe some are a little darker. Maybe some are about the same. I'm sure that's just about normal for the release of these. She does have a small hole in the bottom of her feet, like most of these do. And that's good because, of course, they have the small little peg on the board. And this board is big. I heard it is the biggest board they have ever done. And, I mean, it's way bigger than her. So they didn't necessarily cheap. It's super thin, but there's also some, like, effect on the board. There's, like, this, like, almost like a running effect on the board. So, like, that's pretty cool. It really is nice. She really is nice. The hair puts me off the littlest bit. But would the bald look do any better for her? I don't know. I don't hate it. It's just the one thing that is kind of like bizarre is that they gave her the hair. But then again, didn't she have hair in the comics? Because I'm feeling like she did. I'm not going to claim to know this, because I don't. The bottom of the board doesn't seem to have anything. But she came with this cosmic wave. And this is cool. It doesn't seem like much, but the potential for this thing right here, guys, take this, resculpt it the littlest bit, make her see-through blue. Iceman. Give us an Iceman with one of these. In fact, the wave doesn't go this way. It goes this way. So, like, right? Oh, that is sick. And because of the way it grips, like there's just enough right here, it's kind of like a lip system. It holds it, and then it angles it up. That's a cool stand. This wave is sick. Put this wave on an Iceman. There's reuse in this wave, man. And, for what it's worth, I'm not doing anything crazy, but... And it will put her at an angle. So, you can actually go out of your way to really get, like, hardcore, really cool, like, movement. Give the expression hand. Nothing too extreme here, but just enough to kind of give the impression. Move that, because she's got the dual knee and everything. Put the hand up, move it out, put this hand back. Maybe something. That foot has a lot more movement than I was expecting. That's probably the best ankle rock I've seen in one of these figures. But, like, there. That's very simple. I didn't even try. You watched me in real time set something up here. And that's without trying. So, I mean, you can really do something with her. She's going to be a standout on your shelf. One problem. That little peg offers very little support. The peg, and I realize why they didn't try to make it too big, because they don't want to, like, make the board too, like, out of flux or whatever. But that little peg on her foot is very small. And that little peg here is very small. And so it doesn't hold her very well. So you might want a little piece of, like, sticky tack or something like that. Just very little. I'm not talking about anything extreme. Just enough to literally take it off at the edge of a pencil and get in the foot here to give a little more grip, and then she'll be perfect. And I really think it's not going to take much to pose her up in a way that's just really going to stand out on your shelf. And she is the first of the Fantastic Four figures, and we will get around to unboxing all of them, because we need to talk about every single one. Because every single one is going to have something that I need to say one way or another. Just like I had something to say about her, I'm going to have something to say about every single one of those figures. Silver Surfer, added to the shelf. Not the one other people would have went out to buy, but it's my first one, and I'm not mad about it. Was going to wait till my last one died off, but I'm going to get ready for bed, so now my name gets pinned twice. I like round numbers. Good night, bro. Holy crap, man. How much did you throw down this? I think you put over 100, man. Holy shit. One day, we will morb. There will be one day. It's morbin time. Dude, I know. That six-armed Spider-Man is going to be sick. Shalabol was created as the Silver Surfer in the 60s? I think so. I think she was around like 67 or something. 1968. I was right. I wasn't spot on, but I was right. I knew she came out in the 60s, and I knew it was around 67, 68. Whoever is screeching woke about this are telling that they have never read a comic or bothered doing any form of research. I understand that she's here for multiverse stuff and we're going to eventually get Norrin Rad in the MCU proper, and just hate the very concept of this multiverse entirely. I think it's necessary because you couldn't have done a timepiece and explained it, like I said. I think in this instance, you didn't have a lot that you could do because of the situation. Like, we shouldn't be getting multiverse stuff. Franklin and a time jump all in their debut. I just wanted to see a period piece about the Fantastic Four. And I can get that, but because of the continuity they laid down, you can't do a period piece and explain that nobody would know that. I mean, they're bigger than the Beatles, dude. The Fantastic Four are the literal celebrity of superheroes. I mean, read the original books. They get fan mail. They do talk shows. They're on television. They're in bands. They are literally known worldwide. They are the literal celebrity faces of all superheroes in all of Marvel. And a group like that, saving the world and doing what they did, for no one to mention them, talk about them, know about them in all of the MCU, they would have to have a crazy explanation for that. When people know older superheroes and they keep getting brought up, and like there's enough backdrop here to show us that superheroes have existed before, like Captain America. Hate the fact that woke become what it means. I just use it to mean something was cool or trendy. Buzzword to insult everything. Looks better than Superman for sure. I loved that Superman movie, by the way. I really did. Unfortunately, without getting too political, it's become a tool for those who hate everything. That looks almost clear on camera. Should have gone without the hair. I said that too. I said the hair kind of bothers me a little bit. That's because Shala in the comics has her hair too. I was curious if I was remembering that right. So it wouldn't have looked right. Maybe they should have made it longer and flow more. Now the longer hair, however, often gets in the figure's way because Marvel Legends likes to do very solid like hair. I don't know why. She does have a very nice, sleek look. She's gold in those comics. What fits best with Barbarian figures, Part 2? Giant Spider, Troglodyte, Mammoth. Giant Spider. But I'm biased. Some of the early books had Conan fighting these giant spiders, like these ignorant cults that worshipped these monsters, these giant spiders. And then in that story, there's even a point where they're like praying to this giant spider that they call a god and everything like that. And they're talking about how they worship it and blah, blah, blah. And then he throws one of the priests down there and it eats them. And he's like, seems your god doesn't give much of a crap about who or when it eats or how it eats, just that it eats, and basically calls them out for wasting their time. That board looks way better than the last few silver boards. Ultra cool wave. I really like that wave. I do. Let's see. Micton Sentry True. But I'm going to assume someone at Marvel Googled her and went with it. That's good. I think the last year at SDCC, the team at Marvel kind of expressed wanting to do Iceman with the ice slide as a base or something to that effect. Well, I mean, they've got it then. Because I'm telling you, it wouldn't take much to redo that. That board has a nice sculpt for an Iceman board, too. Good call. Let's see, Spader one. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't exactly inspire confidence in what they went with, but that's how sometimes they go about at Marvel Studios. Oh, I'm almost at the bottom of it. I love the fact that the goddarn Surfer became so popular and survived for so long. You'd think that that'd be so dumb that it wouldn't survive past the Surfer craze. They could have just left her gold. They could still. I've seen pictures where she's silver. I'm not sure. I don't claim to be any kind of an expert, though. This would literally be the cheapest figure to make. Just release the prototype figure with some gloss. Boom, Silver Surfer. They were going to complain regardless of what they went with. Yeah, it's true. It doesn't matter. Like, because she's not established as a Silver Surfer, Herald of Galactus, who confronts the Fantastic Four in the comics. She's Shala Bull, wife of Nornrad, and she's gold. They could have easily got everything they wanted and not had to make any changes to any established lore. You've seen Shala Bulls, but not Solo. I see. Like I said, I know that I've seen her. And I know that I've seen her in silver, but I don't claim to know too much about her. Only that I know she's a thing. And I remembered when she was created. And like even just a Google image search real quick, I see her in gold. I do see that. But then I also see her in what looks to be a very 90s comic where she's silver. And that's probably where I seen her. If I'm being perfectly honest, that's probably where I seen her. Because 90s comics, that was a thing. I was reading the 90s comics, and that looks familiar to me. But I'm seeing these gold images on some of the older books. And I do know that in some of the collections, I've seen that. So gold, I think I am seeing what you're talking about. I do tend to remember the gold, but when I think about her, one of the things that's standing out to me is I remember seeing her in some really shocking art where she's with the Silver Surfer and she's silver. And so I know what you're talking about when you say, but you haven't seen her alone, because you're probably right. And because I remember, like, I think I had like a card or something like that with her and the Surfer on it, and they were like surfing together and they were both silver. And then I also remember seeing her in a silver, but in a very 90s comic. I remember it being very 90s, or feeling that way at least. And I'm not claiming that I'm remembering everything perfectly because, as you know, I'm no expert, and I try to get that out to everybody all the time. I'm not an expert. I know what I know, and that's what I know. Star Chaser, The Legend of Orin animated movie, classic or deserves to be left forgotten? Don't know. I would have to watch it. Honestly, I'm surprised they recast Mr. Fantastic in this movie. I was too. I was very surprised because I thought that he was great. I thought it was great casting of him when he made that appearance. But maybe the idea was that if these actors are going to have to work together for a long time, they probably tested chemistry of multiple actors until they found 4 that really felt like they could be friends. Because, like, if you look at things like Star Trek The Next Generation, it was important to cast those people and make sure that they had a chemistry with each other, because it was going to have to come through on screen. Just like sometimes when they cast the they did the same thing with Star Wars, too. They kind of like tested a bunch of people till they found like a group that seemed like they worked together very well. And they do it in a lot of movies. Maybe there was something to it that they didn't call him back and they ran through a couple of options. And then they found this group that just really, really worked. And he also has star power name because he seems to be in a lot of stuff right now. So it was also kind of like a double back where they were like, hey, we got him. We know he's got name power. We got people that are working really well with him. And maybe there was something to that. Like I said, there's always something in the casting that we don't get to see. And that's very possible too, is we tend to sometimes overlook the fact that this is a business. And actors are just workers, for what it's worth. And workers, for what it's worth, maybe he asked for something that they weren't willing to give, and or maybe they offered and he said, I'm not really feeling getting locked into a 20-year Marvel contract. And then they were like, well, you know, it's pretty good. And because look, some of these guys, like, look, Hugh Jackman is still playing Wolverine. Not every actor wants to get stuck like that. So, that's it for tonight. We will be back to do more of these. I'm hoping to make this, like I said, a Wednesday thing. But for what it's worth, thanks for hanging out. I'm going to get out of here. And I should be back next Wednesday.